Alrighty, hey YouTube. Well, as promised, this is a test drive of the 2018 Lexus ES300 hybrid. And again, as a disclaimer, as an employee of Toyota Motor North America, these views are my own and are not reflective of the company in any way, shape, or form. And as I mentioned in my tour of this vehicle, and that will be linked either up or down or however it's shown, this is my first pretty much extensive time in the back seat of a or not in the back seat, in the driver's seat of a Toyota hybrid, which Toyota is one of the companies that's just, when you say the word hybrid, it's synonymous, be it the Prius and the hybrid drive system, or Lexus and their Lexus hybrid drive. They're kind of the company that made it more mainstream and are continuing to do so, and kind of starting to position the hybrids as more of a instead of an alternative to gas, more of a kind of an option instead of gas. So it's kind of a very low compromise type deal, and a very much a similar experience between both. The price difference is not nearly as much as it used to be. In fact, depending on the deal and on the area you're in, you can actually sometimes get the hybrids for less than the gas versions. Again, that depends on area and model, and of course. But yeah, so 2018 Lexus ES300 hybrid. These are the final kind of months of the on sale. Or the sale of the 6th generation ES, the 9th gen 2019 will replace it very soon. But it's a 2.5 liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder engine with the Lexus hybrid drive system, front wheels with a electronically controlled continuously variable transmission, about 200 horsepower. So again, you can compare the specs to the V6. And now that I'm saying this, I completely remember that I forgot to put the specs of the engine in the last video I made on the ES. Ugh. Oh well. But yeah, so right now I'm in normal mode in the ES, and there really is not a considerable difference around town. The only time I have really noticed the big difference between the V6 and the hybrid is what we're about to demonstrate by turning onto this 4-lane overpass. The steering is still very much the same. It's still very responsive. Of course, the ES to begin with, the 6th generation especially, the 2018, was never intended to be that sporty of a car. Now, it's not a bad driving car by any means. It's a very comfortable, solid car. But it's not like we're going, let's say, from, an IS to the, ES's electronics power steering. It's still very much the same that you would expect in terms of ride. However, if I am to get on it here, it does take a little bit longer to get to 60 than the absolutely rip-roaring V6 that you get in the ES350. Oh, we're gonna have some rain here, so we'll get some rain driving in. With that being said, though, the continuously variable transmission does a great job. Oh, we're about to get a lot of rain. Alrighty, well, let's risk this again. Picking up where we left off, the ES hybrid, in just typical driving scenarios, it is very much the same as a normal ES. There's very little difference. It's the same comfortable suspension. Putting my foot down, that's the only time you hear a CVT drone. If I was to just keep driving this car normally and accelerate at a more normal pace, I guess if you will, it hits 45 without any kind of drone. It stays in that perfect power band in like the Eco, but until you kind of punch it to get up into the power band of the tachometer, which is the Charge, Eco, and Power, I guess the hybrid monitor, if you will. It's fine. And this has actually been a very enjoyable car to have for the weekend. Like I said, very little that's different. And again, this is actually some of the most seat time I've had behind the wheel with a car with the Lexus or Toyota safety systems or safety sense, however they brand it, depending on the brand. And it's very unobtrusive. I was very pleasantly surprised. If I were to go over this lane a little bit or over this line, it's going to kind of subtly vibrate the steering wheel and pull me back towards the center. Very unobtrusive, very kind of helpful, but not in the way. Around the corners, this is a very capable car. Very enjoyable and just smooth riding around. And again, this is with the 17-inch hybrid wheels. Very smooth and comfortable suspension. There's a little bit of added weight with the hybrid battery, but it gives the car a nice heft. It's easy to toss it. I mean, you got sport mode that does tighten up the steering a little bit. And I really am kind of surprised that the take rate isn't a little bit higher on these because, like I said, there's little to no compromise, and it's a very, very nice car to be in. The fuel economy is nothing to snark at. I've been getting upper 30s, just shy of 40, and the fuel range is incredible. The regenerative brakes are not much different than the normal brakes. The only noticeable difference in this car, and I mentioned this in the other video, when you start it, it's on electric power, so you don't hear the internal combustion engine. So it's easy to just realize, not realize that it actually is on. You gotta look for the ready indicator in the gauges. Which also surprised me too is how often this car actually does go into EV mode. So when you are kind of just going around town at an even speed, it'll shut the engine off entirely and just keep driving on EV. And of course, at speeds of 19 miles per hour below, you have a parking lot kind of EV mode. So yeah, to sum up, my first real experience behind the wheel of the hybrid is it is not that much different than the V6. Especially if you do a majority of in-town driving, there's really almost no reason to get the V6 over the hybrid because of the added benefit of the increased miles per gallon and the fuel economy in town. But that's not to say this car performs poorly on the highway either. As you saw, it drives right along at 60 miles an hour plus, just fine. Handles the back roads just fine, parking lots. It's really an all-around capable car. Pleasantly surprised, and I look forward to driving the 19. So if you have any questions about Lexus Hybrid Drive, the ES, the old ES, this current 6th gen, the new one, drop them down below. I'd be happy to answer or try my best to do so. Or comment your experience with Lexus hybrids or Toyota hybrids in general and how, what your thoughts are. I have come to find that at least with the ES, there's no noticeable, no overarching difference to constitute an argument of why you shouldn't, but instead why you should get a hybrid. So, with that, I will catch you all next time.